At first, everything looked perfect. A royal wedding watched by billions. A commoner becoming a princess. And two families, arm in arm, smiling for the cameras. But behind those smiles, something was festering. This isn't just a story about in-laws who don't get along. This is a story about a quiet, ruthless power struggle for the hearts and minds of the future King of England. And at the center of it all stood two women, the former air hostess turned business mogul, Carole Middleton, and the future Queen consort, Camilla. Most people think the royal family accepted Kate Middleton into the fold immediately without hesitation. But stay with me, because the next part changes everything. According to explosive accounts from royal insiders and biographers, Carole Middleton was never supposed to be in the picture. And Queen Camilla made sure everyone knew it. To understand the tension, you have to understand the snobbery at the highest level. It is a world where bloodlines matter more than bank accounts, where old money looks down on new money, and where the phrase "below the salt" still carries weight. Camilla Parker Bowles is a product of the English aristocracy, the daughter of a major, raised in a world of inherited privilege. Carole Middleton, however, started her life in a council house in Ealing. Before marrying Michael Middleton, Carole worked for British Airways as a member of the cabin crew from the age of 21. Her parents worked in a factory and a jewelry shop. The contrast could not have been starker. When Kate began dating Prince William in the early 2000s, the knives were drawn early and sharpened often. Royal author Christopher Anderson, in his book Game of Crowns, revealed that Camilla was deeply opposed to the match from the very beginning. She reportedly thought Kate was pretty but dull and, crucially, not worthy of being a royal due to her commoner status. Anderson claimed that in the beginning, Camilla was one of Kate's fiercest critics, believing Kate was below the salt because she had no aristocratic blood whatsoever. But the disdain wasn't just aimed at Kate, it was laser-focused on her mother. An insider once told Star magazine that Camilla viewed Carole as tacky and common. She allegedly hated that Carole chewed gum at public events and was loud and pushy. For Camilla, Carole represented a threat to the mystique of the monarchy. She represented the modernization of the crown, something the old guard has always resisted. Princess Diana's former butler, Paul Burrell, once revealed that cruel jokes followed Carole wherever she went. He claimed that some of William's aristocratic friends would make snide doors to manual jokes a reference to her days as an air hostess whenever Carole entered a room. The subtext was vicious: "You don't belong here. You are a servant who got lucky." But this is where things get strange. Carole didn't fight back in the press. She didn't scream. She didn't give a single angry interview. Instead, she did something far more dangerous to Camilla's ego: she remained unbothered. She smiled through the snubs. And when the first grandchild arrived, the Cold War turned nuclear. The arrival of Prince George in 2013 should have been a moment of unity. A new heir to the throne. A time for grandparents on both sides to come together in joy. Instead, it became a battleground. A royal insider revealed the deep anxiety inside Clarence's house. Prince Charles, who had waited his entire life to be a grandfather, was reportedly furious and grumbling that he never got to see his grandson. The problem, from Charles and Camilla's perspective, was that Carole was everywhere. She was at Anmer Hall constantly. She was traveling with William and Kate. She was, as one source put it, dictating when George naps, when and what he eats. The tension boiled over in what was perhaps the most savage joke ever uttered in the royal circles. Camilla, looking for a way to mock the Middletons' overbearing presence, allegedly compared them to the chaotic, dysfunctional family from the Ben Stiller movie Meet the Fockers. Yes, the future queen consort looked at Carole Middleton, a grandmother trying to help with nap times and baby food, a woman who built a successful business from nothing and publicly branded her a Focker. The subtext was undeniable. The Fockers in the movie are vulgar, loud, and embarrassingly sincere. They are everything the stiff upper lip of the aristocracy fears. An insider told the Daily Mail that Charles and Camilla felt Carole was behaving like she's Queen Carole. They saw her competence as a threat. They saw her involvement as an invasion. But here is the twist Carole Middleton revealed through her silence. She didn't react. She didn't clap back. She didn't leak a story to the tabloids. She simply disappeared from the royal orbit. For years, the Middletons were noticeably absent from high-profile royal events. The press called it a freezing out. But looking back, it wasn't a defeat. It was a retreat to regroup. Carole understood something that Camilla did not. In a family that craves privacy above all else, the loudest voice is not the strongest. The strongest voice is the one that never speaks out of turn. While Camilla was playing the aristocrat in the gilded palaces of Clarence House, Carole was playing the long game in the countryside. And she had the ultimate weapon, a functional, loving, normal family. Royal commentator Tina Brown, in her book The Palace Papers, revealed that Prince William didn't just fall in love with Kate Middleton. He adopted the entire Middleton family. After the trauma of his parents' very public divorce, after the chaos of his mother's death, after a lifetime of stiff formality and emotional distance, William found something he desperately craved at the Middleton home in Bucklebury. What did he find there? Simple, profound things. Cheese on toast. His favorite snack, which Carole makes for him regularly. Sea salt chocolates, which she stocks up on because she knows he likes them. Television in the living room. Tennis on the lawn. A mother figure who didn't come with an agenda, who didn't need to be managed by courtiers, who just wanted to know if he was warm enough and had eaten enough. One acquaintance told Tina Brown, not only did he fall for her but them. A warm nest with a complete nuclear family and seemingly wonderfully uncomplicated. What a contrast to his own upbringing. Think about the significance of this. William, the future King of England, had a choice of palaces to spend his weekends. He could have stayed at Windsor. He could have gone to Sandringham. Instead, he chose to transfer his personal quad bike to the Middletons' home in Berkshire. He chose to spend Christmas with them in 2011 rather than with the royal family. Former royal butler Grant Harold confirmed that William loved spending weekends at the Middletons' house because they offered the normality he craved. While Charles was hosting formal dinners with foreign dignitaries, Carole was making sure William's favorite chocolates were in the cupboard. This was Carole's quiet victory. She didn't need to sit on a throne to have power. She held court in her kitchen. Biographer Ingrid Seward, editor-in-chief of Majesty magazine, put it simply, Carole and Michael are just as much family to William as they are to Catherine. She became, in the words of multiple royal sources, his second mum. While Charles and Camilla were grumbling about the Fockers, a far more important figure was watching. And her opinion mattered more than anyone else's. The late Queen Elizabeth II was the ultimate arbiter of who belonged and who did not. And she had a simple, time-honored way of testing people, the Balmoral test. For generations, the royal family has invited potential partners and their families to the Scottish estate of Balmoral to see how they handle the peculiar rituals of royal life: long lunches, country walks in questionable weather, shooting parties, and the unique pressure of being on for 48 hours straight. Princess Diana passed with flying colors. Sarah Ferguson passed. But for the Middletons, this was the moment of truth. In September 2016, the Queen did something extraordinary. She welcomed Carole and Michael Middleton to stay overnight at Balmoral Castle, reportedly the first time the Middletons had been granted that privilege. And then she went further. The Queen got behind the wheel of her Range Rover, as she famously loved to do, and personally drove Carole Middleton back from a picnic lunch on the estate. Let that sink in. The monarch of the United Kingdom, the longest-reigning sovereign in British history, played chauffeur to the former air hostess from Berkshire. Royal historian Robert Lacey, consultant to the Crown, called it a seismic signal. This clearly shows that the Queen is signaling her pleasure about the arrival in the royal family of humble origins, Lacey told People magazine. We have the grandest monarchy in the world, embracing right into its heart a family of humble origins. It was the late Queen's way of saying, she stays. She belongs. And it was the ultimate rebuke to anyone, including Camilla, who had suggested otherwise. Fast forward to 2025 and 2026. The narrative has flipped completely. Camilla is now Queen Consort, theoretically on top of the world. But look closely at the victory lap Carole Middleton is taking. In March 2026, at the Cheltenham Festival, royal watchers were stunned by what they saw. There, in the royal box, were three women, Queen Camilla, Princess Anne, and Carole Middleton. And they were not just sitting politely. They were laughing. They were chatting. They were hugging. The images went viral. Royal biographer Ingrid Seward noted that Carole must have been invited by the Queen to have been in the royal box, meaning Camilla herself extended the invitation. The woman who once mocked Carole as a Fokker was now sharing her private box with her. What changed? According to royal author Robert Jobson, everything and nothing changed. Carole remained exactly who she always was. And that, Jobson argues, is precisely why she won. The Middletons aren't guests anymore, Jobson told Hello magazine in March 2026. They stopped being guests a long time ago. They're family. Jobson revealed the secret to Carole's success in one devastatingly simple phrase: trust is the thing with Carole. Think about what he said next. She has been inside this world since William and Catherine first got together, and nothing has ever come out. Not a conversation, not a confidence, not a whisper. In an institution that has been torn apart by leaks, tell-all books, and Netflix documentaries in the wake of Prince Harry's spare and the endless headlines about family dysfunction, Carole Middleton has kept her mouth shut for 20 years. She has never briefed against Camilla. She has never sold a story. She has never complained about the Meet the Fockers jokes. When an institution is taking that kind of damage, Jobson continued, what matters is having people close to the family who are solid and keep their counsel, who don't brief, don't gossip, and don't disappear when things get hard. Carole is that person. This is the ultimate reveal. Camilla's camp spent years briefing the press that Carole was low-class and pushy. Carole, meanwhile, spent 2 decades proving them wrong, not with words, but with actions. She proved that loyalty is worth more than lineage. She proved that discretion is the highest form of royalty. There is another layer to this story that most people have missed. And it has to do with a vacancy in the royal family. For years, the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, Fergie, held a unique position. She was a non-working royal who remained close to the family, attending events, supporting the monarch, and providing a friendly face in the royal box. But the Jeffrey Epstein scandal and the release of the Epstein files have effectively ended that role. Fergie is out. Enter Carole Middleton. Royal commentators have noted that Carole is perfectly positioned to fill that gap. She loves horses. She loves equestrian events. She loves the outdoors. She gets along famously with Zara Tindall. They arrived at Cheltenham in near-matching charcoal grey herringbone wool coats. She makes the no-nonsense princess and hug her. She is, in every way, a natural fit. She does something that very few people manage, Jobson said of Carole. She connects the institution to real family life, and that's a unique role. There is even speculation that when William becomes king, he may grant Carole and Michael Middleton titles, a recognition of everything they have done for him and for the monarchy. From council house to coronet. From doors to manual, to your grace. So, what did Carole Middleton reveal about Queen Camilla? She revealed that for all her titles, for all her aristocratic breeding, for all her centuries of lineage, Camilla could never compete with the quiet power of a stable, loving home. Carole won the war not by fighting, but by refusing to fight. She won by being unshakable. She won by being loyal. The cruel jokes about the Fockers have been forgotten. What remains is the image of Prince William, the future king, steadying Carole at Royal Ascot, holding her hand, treating her like the second mother she has become. What remains is the image of Queen Camilla laughing with Carole in the royal box. What remains is the judgment of history. Carole Middleton went from being mocked as an outsider to being the undisputed matriarch of the future king's heart. Carole Middleton revealed that the monarchy needs the Middletons more than the Middletons ever needed the monarchy. And that, more than anything, is why the power struggle is over. Carole won.